We're heading into Christmas, which is always a good time, but it's also a time of change. It really is. When you unwrap the box, you get a Christmas present. Well, have you thought about it from your point of view of your career? Have you thought maybe it's time for me to unwrap another box and change direction? So, interestingly enough, I've got Anna Black, who is a career counsellor, on the line, and it's all about that creative element within your soul where you're thinking to yourself, maybe, just maybe, I need to go in a different direction. So let's say good day to Anna, who is hiding from her kids in her humble abode. Good evening, Anna.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very good indeed. Now, as a career counsellor, obviously that's your role in life, but also as a super mum as well. There's a real balancing act in that alone.
Absolutely. And to a degree, it's why I choose to do what I do in the way that I do it. I have great flexibility. I work for myself. And I've gone through a process of thinking about what I want my work life to look like and what fits for me and works for my family too.
Can I ask, Anna, are a lot of people changing careers? Because to my understanding, once upon a time, staying in a certain, job for 40 years and getting the gold watch, those days are gone, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. I think, people have on average 7 careers in their lifetime, and that's different types of roles, not just moving from one job to another on average. And so, it's definitely a trend towards more variety, making changes. You don't necessarily pick a career in your teens and stick with that for life anymore.
Right. I mean, once upon a time, I know that people are listening where they got an apprenticeship, they then went into the trades, they stayed in the trades for a long period of time. But there are younger members of the listening audience that, for example, I'll give you one example. One of my executive producers who was here is now not in radio. And since he hasn't been in radio, he's changed careers probably 5 times. So is there a certain demographics that find they have to be a part of that evolution of life, that change of career?
That's a great question. What is the cause of it? I think it's a trend over time. I think there's a lot more variety out there in the world of work. There are so many different things that we can do, and we can work more flexibly. There's lots of a far more variety in what we can study, and just so many more options out there. So I think the world is your oyster a bit, and you can pick and choose, and you can move around. And I think people also these days have more of the privilege of being able to choose and being able to prioritize some of those other things, like doing something that you enjoy or you find meaningful or worthwhile.
Well, all of my life, I have been told by people far wiser than myself, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So I guess under those boundaries, everybody should be trying to find something that they love. But realistically, that's really hard. I've done some gigs in my life, some work in my life to earn a couple of bucks. I had to do it because I needed the money. But in amongst it all, we've got to try and find a bit of joy. This is my question. I'm waffling a bit. What is the difference between a job and a career? Because you're a career counsellor. A job is something that you do short term to make a couple of bucks. A career is a lifelong career path.
Yeah, so a job is, a specific role that you do that you might do for a fixed period of time, whereas when we talk about careers, we talk about them very holistically. So it's all the different potential, roles that you do through your lifetime, and more people are doing more than one thing as well. So You might have a job and, a business on the side, or a part-time role, or do voluntary work or board positions. So there's lots of different ways of mixing and matching careers these days. So it's not just about that. There's also the other saying around, whether you work to live or live to work. And I think more people are thinking about their careers in terms of, what they want to achieve, more around their sort of purpose in life. There is a bit of a downside with this though as well, and that's, there can be a pressure that comes with that. And so we do need to be careful not to, put pressure on ourselves to find passion and purpose and feel like that we have to meet these expectations.
Sure.
Because no career is perfect. But my philosophy is that you constantly think about what you can do to bring more joy into your career, and what can you do that's going to be most enjoyable and satisfying, and get as close to that ideal as you can.
We're talking to Anna Black, who is a career counsellor, and I'll get Anna to give you her details as to where you can find her at the end of our discussion, because there is a difference between having a job and having a career path. And I'm conscious that we do put parameters on. We do put parameters on success in your career or happiness in your career. Can people change too many times in their career path because they're always looking for something that potentially isn't there? And if you look for something that isn't there, get the job, and then it's not what you thought it would be, that can lend itself to being extremely depressed. So, are we changing too often, do you think?
Oh, another good question. Yes. So, I think when you're young and sort of starting out in your career, I think it's a great strategy to try some different things. Use a bit of trial and error, get some different experiences, learn what you do and don't like. But as we go further on through our careers, it's not a great thing to be using that strategy, because if we're constantly trying something new and then being disappointed and feeling dissatisfied, then that does become, demoralizing, as you said.
Sure.
So if you're finding yourself in that kind of pattern, it's really important to stop and take stock and figure out what it is that is going to bring you satisfaction, what it is you do want to be looking for in a job or in your career that is going to solve that problem and give you that fit. And that's exactly what I do. I help people do that, figure out what that is, and plan a career so they can make a change and be really confident that what they choose to do and where they're going is going to work for them and is going to tick the boxes.
So, Anna, is there one or two questions that you would recommend that people ask themselves about their career to work out if they're, heading in the right direction? Or is it that simple? It's probably not. There's probably a heap more than that. But, is there some advice maybe that you would give someone that's possibly thinking about a career change?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, there are many questions to ask yourself, and you can do this process through, asking a few general questions and seeing what you can uncover. When I work with clients, we go really deep and make sure we uncover everything. We do a really sort of comprehensive and thorough job. I have a clear process to do that. But the things to focus on, I think, are, we often think about what we're interested in, and through high school, people will ask you, what are you interested in, and follow your interests, which is important.
Sure.
So being interested in, the subject matter, the content of your job is really important. That's what most people focus on, though. What we don't focus on so much often is the tasks that you do. Like, what does your every day look like? What are the actual tasks that you're doing? Because there are tasks that we enjoy doing, that we're good at, that we enjoy, and there are things that we don't enjoy. And there are even things called burnout skills, that tasks that we get good at that we don't enjoy, that we can get trapped in doing, which can really make us miserable.
Okay, when you say burnout skills, it's when you hit burnout and it's a way of getting out of it. Is that what you're alluding to?
No. What I mean is, if you're in a job where, for example, you're writing reports and you get really good at writing reports, but it's not something you enjoy. You really detest writing reports.
Gotcha.
But you've done that skill. You've kind of developed this skill of writing reports to the degree that you're really good at it. People ask you to do it. You get a sense of achievement because you know you do it well, and you do more and more and more, but it makes you miserable.
Right.
And, ultimately can potentially lead to burnout if you're trapped in doing these tasks, using these skills that you really don't enjoy using. They can cause you anxiety and stress. You really don't want to be doing that thing. So that skills aspect, that the tasks, what do you enjoy doing, is a really great first question to ask yourself. Do you enjoy analysing data or talking to people, or what is it you enjoy doing from a task point of view?
Gosh, this is the beginning of a long conversation, and I have run out of time.
Absolutely.
Anna, if anyone's interested in finding you, is there a .com that people can go to?
Absolutely. So my business name is Strategic Consulting and Careers. So my website is strategiccc.com.au. So that's strategic with 3 C's on the end.
Right.
If you search Anna Black Career Counsellor on Google, then you'll find me pretty easily too. And I'm also on LinkedIn.
It's Christmas is such an interesting time because it's a time where we are so busy with family, but there's also those potholes, those afternoons of lazy, sunny summer afternoons where we can look at ourselves, ask ourselves the questions of careers and are we in the right direction, etc. And I think that Christmas is always an interesting time on so many different levels. And Anna, you've planted a seed in a couple of people that they may be looking to change tack. Thank you so much for your time tonight on 6PR. Very grateful.
Thank you very much.
Anna Black is a career counsellor. And again, folks, if you want the more details on how to find Anna, give us a call, 133 882 here at 6PR. But if you are going through the educational process of asking yourself during downtimes, that ability to ask yourself a question, are you doing the right thing? It's really interesting to think that you have the ability. There's a lot of jobs out there at the moment, I've been told. But if it is time for you to change, Christmas might be a good opportunity. And you never know, that New Year's resolution could be to do something totally different. We'll take a break on 6PR. Come straight back after this.